All right, welcome into Prize Picks on 5 here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at 5 Reasons Sports and at Ethan J. Skolnick. Up top, we've got David W. Ebersol, which is exactly where you can follow him, and our guy David Friedman, who you can follow at Taco Bout Sports. We're going to get into the Monday night game tonight. We've got the Rams playing. We've got the 49ers playing. I feel like there's more interest in this from a fantasy perspective than maybe from an actual game perspective. Rams heavily favored. Or actually, they're favored by 3.5 on the road. I thought it would be actually more than that. But if you want to play Prize Picks, use the code 5. That's FIVE. That's the code you want to use to get your initial deposit match. That is the bonus. Throw down $20. Give it a shot. You can play the flex play and even go halfway in so that if you get 1 out of 2 players right, you get $10 back. You can play that the next time. You can also go power play. You want to be a little bit more ambitious, you can play 2, 3, 4, 5 players together. You can play them together in NFL, NBA. Typically, we do some NBA here, too. We might touch on that a little bit, but let's get right into it. I'm going to go with my pick, and then I'll let you guys jump in. Odell Beckham with the Rams. His number is on the board. Of course, short week, but it's not like the guy's been out all season. Well, I mean, part of it. And maybe he's been a little bit out of it. But teams tend to want to feature their new players. And particularly when he's chosen that team over other teams, and particularly when he can be a little bit of a head case. For all of those reasons, I think Sean McVay makes an effort to get the ball to Odell Beckham early and often. I think that will get sort of pushed ahead to Matthew Stafford as well. And I think Matthew Stafford's going to use his new toy against a team that's a little bit up and down. I'm going over 27.5 yards on Odell Beckham, guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, I there's a lot of reasons that I understand where you're going with that. I can't really argue with the number 27.5. Like, it seems easy, right? I do kind of see this, you're saying like the game itself, not that much interest. These games actually in the NFC West, they end up being a lot closer and more defensive typically. And especially with no Robert Woods, I could see them running the ball a lot tonight. Cooper Kupp will get his, but I ended up going Van Jefferson. I ended up going the opposite way in terms of receivers. He's been over 3 receptions, 4 last games, or 3 or more. And, look, no Robert Woods, obviously. It's just he's the guy that seems to know the offense already. So I could see this being, even if it's just a one-game thing where it's him more than Odell, I think this is the game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game, but the Rams will probably pull away in the second half, and the 49ers might be coming from behind then. So that's why I went with Jimmy G over 240.5. I think that's a pretty friendly number. He's been well over 300 yards in his last 2 games, and the strength of the Rams defense is actually their run defense. So if you look at Jimmy G here, 326 and 322. And like David said, game script might lead them to passing a little bit more in the second half if they fall behind. So I'm going to take Jimmy G over 240.5 passing.
My concern with Jimmy G is always if he finishes the game. I guess that's a concern with all quarterbacks, but particularly with him, particularly when they have a guy behind him that they want to take a little bit of a look at. Did anything else jump out to you guys on this board?
I think, like I said, I mean, going back to it, it was honestly, you said, like you went in the beginning, said that is more of a fantasy relevant game. And I'm honestly a little scared because, like I said, these games are typically kind of defensive. And then on top of that, with the whole receiver thing, I don't know what to do with it. I actually, my other pick for this game was the kicker, Matt Gay. I took him over on fantasy points, which is 8.5. I think like easily he'll have 3 field goals.
I think that's definitely playable. Anything for you, David?
This Sony Michel 18.5 rush yards. I mean, you can kind of luck into that. If you look at his 4 out of 5 games, he's been pretty well over that. I mean, he breaks off a couple decent runs. He's right over that number. And if they want to run the ball, if they're playing with a lead in the second half, I could see him going easily over 18.5. That was the other one that I really liked from this game.
All right. Let's switch ahead here. Again, mention PrizePicks. Go to PrizePicks.com. Use the code 5. We always try to play the Heat game here on nights that they play, and they are in Oklahoma City tonight. They're actually a pretty big favorite on the road, finishing up this road trip. But we don't know if Jimmy Butler is back, right, guys? So that seems to be the issue with the board, that not everybody's on there at this stage.
Yeah, there's not much there. I think we talked beforehand. I don't know about you, but Dave and I were on the same page. Like, we both like Lowry on points.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to pick up the scoring.
So Lowry, 15.5 points.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
and he did the other night. He pretty much has since the fourth quarter of the.
It's hard to know what to
the Clipper
expect in terms of specific stats because if Jimmy's not playing, then I think Bam gets more assists. Like it's just one of those things that I don't really know where to go, and really rebounds is typically where I would go here, but there's nobody there.
Bam was at 3.5 assists. That's also a pretty nice number.
I saw. It's just I'm hesitant without knowing the Jimmy thing. That's really all it is.
Right. I think our anticipation is. Go ahead. You like Dort? Yeah, for points.
Yeah, for points, 14.5.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I think the thing with Jimmy, first thing, I don't think Jimmy's going to play. Just a hunch. Last game of a road trip, they got the Utah game, so I feel like, and they feel like could probably get this one without him. Even though Oklahoma City has been competitive of late, so I feel like they'll hold him out. I would like Bam assists if Jimmy does not play. I'm with you on that, and I'm also with you on Lowry points. What is Tyler's number up there yet?
No, I didn't see anything for him there.
Yeah, and I think that's a bit of a hedge too, based on the Jimmy situation. But you can bet all of this. You can see how the board works there. Again, you can bet everything from 3-pointers made to points to assists to rebounds. You can do it on PrizePicks.com. Use the code 5. We'll do a little bit more NBA this week as the Heat come home. Becomes a little bit easier to kind of gauge who's healthy and who's not coming back from this trip. And they've got Wednesday night game against New Orleans. So join us then for the latest Prize Picks on 5. Have a good night.